welcome to SATV News. This is Nahida with our headlines. 5-member investigation committee of PGCB starts its probe to identify the reasons behind national power grid failure. Communication resumes with SATV after 7 hours of closing due to landslide at Nandaram in Rangamati's Bagaichari. The 5-day Durga Puja ends with the immersion of the idol of goddess Durga and her offspring in the water bodies. Investigation committee of the state-owned power grid company of Bangladesh PGCB starts its probe to identify the reasons behind the national power grid failure that triggered a 7 to 8 hour long blackout across most of the places across the country. The PGCB initially formed a 5-member investigation committee headed by Yaqub Ilahi Chaudhry, representative from Bangladesh Power Development Board, BPDB, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, BUET, and also from other power sectors entity following the national grid failure. Later, an experienced individual who had been working as a consultant with the grid system locally and internationally was co-opted in the committee. Yaqub informed that the committee will visit substations and power stations and other relevant facilities to identify the reasons behind the grid collapse. Communication was resumed with SATV after 7 hours of closing the tourist spot due to a landslide at Nandaram in Bagaichari Upazila of Rangamati. Several thousands of tourists are now at ease. Army personnel and local work to clean the road and bring the situation normal for traffic. Upazila Nirbahi Officer UNO Bagaichari Rumana Akhtar said that a huge portion of the hill collapsed in the Nandaram area this morning, snapping the road communication. She also said that about 2,000 tourists were waiting to exit the SATV area, while another 3,000 tourists were waiting to enter the valley during the disruption of the communication. The 5-day Durga Puja, the biggest religious festival of the Bengali Hindu community, ended today with the immersion of the idol of goddess Durga and her offspring in water bodies across the country amid festivity. Devotees in their tearful eyes bade farewell to the mother deity and her children Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kartik and Ganesh as the idol was immersed, wishing the goddess Durga's return next year. There were strict security measures in place so that Durga Puja ended peacefully. Earlier in the day, devotees thronged mandaps in Dhaka and elsewhere across the country for the Bijoya Dashami to celebrate the triumph of the goddess Durga over the buffalo demon Maheshwari. Families visited each other's and exchanged sweetmeat. Married Hindu women put vermilions on each other's forehead on the occasion. President M. Abdul Hamid will exchange greetings with Hindu community leaders and distinguished personalities at the Banga Bhavan in Dhaka this evening. President's press secretary Muhammad Jainul Abidin informed that the program for the Hindu community leaders on the occasion of Shardiya Durga Puja will be held at 8 p.m. in the limited scale. The guests have been asked to attend the event following the health safety guidelines, including wearing masks and maintaining social distancing. Hindu religious leaders, members of Hindu Religion Welfare Trust, representative of Bangladesh Puja, Udjapon, Porishad Dhaka, Mahanagar Sarbojanin Puja Committee and people from various professions will join the program. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will address a press conference on Thursday afternoon on the outcome of her recent official tour of the UK and the USA. The Prime Minister's press secretary Ihsanul Karim said that the press conference would start at 4 in the afternoon at her official residence Gana Bhavan in Dhaka. Sheikh Hasina returned home early Tuesday after completing her 18-day visit. She went to London on September 15 mainly to attend the Queen Elizabeth II's funeral and reception hosted by the King Charles III. On September 19, she left London for New York to address the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly and later went to Washington, D.C. Bangladesh's ocean freight charges registered a 50% fall from the pandemic-led massive surges as the global trade slows because of the shrinking demand for goods paired with the rising inflation and inventory excesses in the destination countries. Vessel operation on the Chattogram Europe route now costs $6,000 to $7,000 per 20-foot container, in the contrast to $12,500 in December 2021. When the pandemic was at its peak. Similarly, a US-bound ship now charges $10,000 per 20-foot container, down from $20,000. The easing in supply chain disruption, which had been built up over the pandemic, is also driving the significant fall in the freight rates. The maritime ports of Chattogram, Cox's Bazar, Bangla and Pyra were advised to hoist local cautionary signal number 3 as a low pressure area formed over the west central Bay of Bengal and adjoining Andhra coast. The Met Office said that under its influence and squally weather may affect the maritime ports, the North Bay and adjoining coastal areas of Bangladesh. Light to moderate rains or thunder shower accompanied by temporary gusty wind and lightning flashes are likely to occur at many places over Rangpur, Khulna, Sylhet and Mymensingh division. All fishing boats and trawlers in the North Bay and the deep sea have been advised to remain close to the coast and proceed with caution until further notice. Viewers, we are taking a short break, so stay with us. Welcome back, and you're watching SATV News. The United States and South Korea launched 4 missiles off the east coast of the Korean peninsula this morning. The test was an allies' second exercise in under 24 hours following a provocative test launch by neighboring North Korea. North Korea fired a ballistic missile without warning over Japan in a significant escalation of its weapon testing program on Tuesday morning. Today's launch included 4 CMS missiles. National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communication John Kirby said that the U.S. and its allies have the military capabilities at the ready to respond to provocation by the North. Earlier on Tuesday, the U.S. and Japan also conducted a joint response to the North Korean launch with U.S. Marine Corps and Japan Air Self-Defense Force fighter jets flying over the Sea of Japan, also known as the East Sea. Ukrainian forces liberated a key village in the southern region of Kherson, hastening another Russian military retreat. The 35th Marine Brigade was hosting a Ukrainian flag above Drivdy Brig amid reports of several other nearby villages being recaptured. Russian forces have already been forced to retreat in the Ukrainian northeast and the south as well. Meanwhile, the United States is sending $625 million to Ukraine in additional weaponry, including high-mobility artillery rocket system launchers, in a move that Russia said risks escalating the war. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed into the law measures that claim to annex 4 Ukrainian regions into the Russian Federation in violation of international law. Former U.S. President Donald Trump asked the United States Supreme Court to hold the Justice Department's review of classified documents seized from the former president's Florida's home in August. In a legal filing on Tuesday, Trump's lawyer urged the top court to pause the government's review, while a neutral arbiter vets dozens of files marked as classified for privileged content. The filing comes amid a week-long legal battle between the former president and the Justice Department, which is investigating Trump's possible mishandling of classified documents. Last month, a U.S. appeal court overturned a federal district judge's decision to pause the government's review. Billionaire Elon Musk is proposing to go ahead with his original offer of $44 billion to take Twitter Inc. private. A securities filing showed on Tuesday, signaling an end to a legal battle that could have forced Musk to pay up. An agreement would put the world's richest person in charge of one of the most influential media platforms and end months of turbulent litigation that damaged Twitter's brand and fed Musk's reputation from the erratic behavior. The chief executive of the electrical car maker Tesla Inc., Musk will take over a company he originally committed to buying in April, but soon soured on. Twitter shares jumped 12.7% to $47.93 before trading was halted for the second time, while Tesla shares rose by about 2.4%. Twitter ended up over 22% at $52. India lost the final T20I of the three-match series to South Africa by 49 runs at the Holkar Cricket Stadium in Indore. Chasing a big target of 228 runs, India got off to a poor start as they lost Rohit Sharma in the first over. In the folding up, the South African bowler kept chipping in with wickets at regular intervals, and India eventually got bundled out for 178 in 18.3 overs. Dinesh Karthik scored a 21-ball 46, and other Indian batter failed to take the innings deep. This happened after Riley Rossi scored his maiden T20I century and helped South Africa post a big total of 227 for 3 in 20 overs. Rossi scored 100 not out of 48 balls. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. 5-member investigation committee of PGCB starts its probe to identify the reasons behind national power grid failure. Communication resumes with Sajik after 7 hours of closing due to a landslide at Nandaram in Rangamati's Bagaichori. The 5-day Durga Puja ends with the immersion of the idol of goddess Durga and her offspring in water bodies. You're up to date with the top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest in SATV news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with us.